Hello from Bali. This is the podcast Pigeon of Peace where we do discuss awesome skills of troubleshooters. Watch, listen, and check the description below for the details. Let's talk about remote teamwork and let's start with the definition.
You know, Maxim, it's very funny, but when we talk about remote teamwork right now, everyone is working remotely, and if you have some people in your cycle, you often use messengers, Skype, Zoom, and other instrument or tools which could help you to work on distance. When I was working on the cathedra of my institute, we were working on the same computer, and our remote work was looking quite different than like now. It was something like this. I was coming to computer. I would open the door. I would come to the computer, and I will see diskette with a volume of 360 kilobytes, and small note on the paper would be written on it, something. For example, it would be from Maxim Golubь. I have been developing such a procedure. Do not use it. It is not debugged. After 3 hours, I would write the same on this paper, like a roll, как продолжение, roll,
Continuation or rolling.
like continuation. I would write a line, and then I will say to another third person, something like, Ruslan, I have not been using Maxim Golubь routine, and also I have created by my own another routine. You also should not use it until I will say you to do so. And then Ruslan will come, and he will write another note, and after the night, another person would come, and we will work on the computer, which will be switched on by every one of us. Everyone would use diskette to write something for 3 hours. That we will take this diskette out, put on the table, and switch off the computer. At this time, computers were not connected to any kind of net. Right now, this working in another way. For example, I would write to Maxim, like yesterday, Maxim, could we switch, shift our schedule a bit? And I know that you are on a Bali, so I was trying to ask you as kindly as I can, but к счастью, but fortunately you agreed, and then we have another time for our routine, and we make this recording. So you are standing from me, I don't know exactly, maybe like 20,000 kilometers. It's very long. And you were working in Singapore, in Dubai. Right now you're staying in Bali. You was in Smolensk, you was in Moscow. So I never think how far you are from me. So all these connections which we make with electronics way now help us to work the same way as we're working in one room.
Well, and definitely there might be some sort of like a principles, or maybe some sort of like a foundation, unspoken one, or maybe something which is really written in or embedded into each company or the team code which they follow. So what are those principles that allow the remote work to be efficient and, like allow the team to deliver the result?
Maxim, you know, I always happy to see the smile on your face, and I know exactly you will smile right now, and I will explain you why. You know, there is a saying in Russian language: "Who live the longest way?" Кто живет дальше?
Live longest way.
Who lives the longest
Far.
way? Or he will come to the job without any lateness, без опозданий.
He
And
will never be late.
He will never be late. Thank you. If you will live close to the office, you will be late almost every day. This first, you never miss the minute. You always write me in a Skype, like 10 minutes before our recording, I am ready. And this is a very strict rule from your side, because you are very long distance from me. And second, maybe you will notice that you are among very few people who always switch on the camera on our lessons in School of Troubleshooters. You know, when I do business, I never allow people to work with me without camera. If I couldn't see the face, if I couldn't see the readiness, I couldn't be sure that person will work with me. For example, right now I'm working for, I don't know, like 12 clients. And sometimes I don't know how to say, main bookkeeper, главный бухгалтер, chief
or accountant.
chief accountant or even general manager, sometimes they try not to switch on camera. And I always say, you have like 5 minutes or you will be switched off. And sometimes I switch off those high level guys, and after they will come back in Zoom and they will come, we are paying you money. I'm saying, no, you are paying not money for me, your company paying. And I do my job just with people whom I could see. Yes, when I conduct lectures in School of Troubleshooters, I forced to accept wish not to turn on camera, but lateness and open camera is the main principle of remote teamwork.
And when it's also, I think you also give a quite nice example of the communication that you were holding with your like a classmates or maybe like a lecture mates, which nowadays probably would be called async communication. So asynchronous, meaning that like sometimes you may like you might be living in a different time zones, or people might be having their own schedule, and most of the communication also happens over the text rather than the voice. So what might be the principles here, like when we're trying to relay our message and make sure it will be received, it will be understood, it will be taken, and then it will be performed?
And once more, I'm very grateful for your question. When I write something, when I work with remote working people, usually I remember a very easy and very serious thing. Sometimes your employee would become an enemy. Sometimes your contractor would be an opponent in the court. So if you remember all my letters, when I write it, it's a bit official. So I always use the name, then I will put comma, then I would write a first line, like log line, headline, and then I would write something polite, but very distinctive. All time I am thinking that maybe in some period of time, I would use those letters, those messages in court. And this is already in my blood. So you could never say something bad or something good to your teammate without specification. Why? Several weeks ago, I was on a court, and this was very famous person. He is naturalist, and he was accused of catching some extra species on national park. And there was a question from a judge. Why prosecutor? Yes, prokuror.
Prosecutor.
Why prosecutor? You think that this person catches some extra species, and prosecutor proudly took some equipment, and this was definitely recording of the phone call, and this was something like how this is going on. It was a question and answer +1. And I asked the prosecutor, could we please hear not just this part of the recording, could we make it like 30 seconds longer from the start? And suddenly, before this replies, before replies, this was an answer. What the weather you have? How is going to be now? So this was +1, not about species which were kept on this national park. This was about temperature. So I was so impressed by this example. And now I will even be twice persistent, настойчивый.
Persistent.
Twice persistent to everyone to say, if you write something to your remote classmate, to your partner, to your contractor, you should always think that it could be used in the court.
And this is a quite wise thing to do. I do believe it's also like a very important to keep all of the recordings in place and actually make it recordings rather than words, or maybe like there is also pronunciation. They say like he says, she says. That means like no one says. And when it comes to the tooling, what kind of things you should use, given that the company might be doing different things, whether it's software development or consultancy or anything like this, how the company should approach to using the tool for the remote preset?
Let me explain how I was working in 1993 in Hanover, in Germany. It was something like this. I was having a computer with Windows 3.11 for workgroups. And when I was switching off the system block, it would be uploaded not from the hard drive, but from the server by the channel. It was named like T1, something like 10 megabits per second. And I was waiting for a very long time. Then I would see on the screen not just icons for the program like Notepad, something like this. It would be just one program. It was looking like a chessboard, and all of these squares, it would be not a program, but this was like a script. What could I do? For example, to make a call, to buy a ticket, to make a report, to make calculation, and something like this. So no program. So I couldn't use like Solitaire or something like Minesweeper, if I'm not mistaken. Sapper.
Probably could Sniper, Minesweeper.
Minesweeper, yes. And then I was working with one program at a time, nothing more. And each 50 minutes, I would get a very small window in the middle of the screen, and there would be just two fields. First, it would be like раскрывающий список, open up list.
Expanded list.
Expanded list. And there would be just two clients, because at this time I was having just two clients, Siemens and Hagenuk, two companies. And then would be a small spare space where I should put something like, I don't know exactly, several dozen of symbols. And you know, when it started annoying me, I was thinking, why those people hate me? Why they don't believe? I like my job. I like to be here. I have a good computer. I have a nice view. I have fridge full of cola and cakes, which was not enough in my country. So everything was so beautiful. I was living like in paradise. But why you're annoying me with this small window? And I was starting to think what to write there. But you know, Maxim, after 3 to 5 days, I was doing this like a robot. I was working with something which was dedicated to my client. So I would very fast to choose which one client, and then I would put some words. And after 1 week, suddenly I realized that this window no more annoys me because I do just what I intend to do. So it was like, I don't know how to say, принуждение. It's like forcement.
Forcing, yes.
This window was forcing me to not distract, but work only with my clients.
Well, this is actually another nice way to my next question, because sometimes, you know, like when people don't really show up, or maybe people switch off the cameras using like different excuses, it's also my like a feel or even smell that there is something is going on, because like when they don't have to, you know, like provide the results on time, and it might be lasting for weeks, you actually at the end of the day you will see that it's like a loosey or slippery work that you don't really want to accept. And it also reminds me of one of the examples when I was working with the team that used like a hybrid mode. So the person who became more or less like a friend, he said like, okay, I just will, you know, like to make sure that people see that I checked in, I just will write some message in the channel like at 9 p.m. so that people still see that I am busy. So when it comes to measuring the productivity of the people, the output of their work, like what kind of approaches the manager or even the colleagues may take in order to call out the one who is lazy and maybe encourage the one who is actually the hard worker?
You know, there is a story, a very funny one for employees, but not funny for bosses. There is a mouses which could be used, for example, to moved by glass on any surface, and there would be employees which would be measured by special program. This program would make like screenshot every 5 minutes, and some of them would put wristwatch on under the mouse, and this arrow, стрелка, the arrow would making some cycles, and mouse also would be moving on the screen. And this was like a hint how to show that you are a working person instead of sleeping out on the couch. That's first example. Second example, you know, you should be very smart as a boss. when you will give to your employee a task, never give him task in a form of elephant. You should slice it for very small pieces. And you also should ask him how fast he could make this job. When I was young, I was trying to give my direct reports some small and big pieces. And sometimes I could not understand how fast they will do this. I was asking when you could do this, but after several years, I understand I never should ask when it would be done. I should slice all the task in a such mode that person could do 2 tasks per day, daily. In this case, I will see the people, some of them will do 1 part, some of them will do 2, some of them will do 3. If person will do 2, just okay, nothing to say. If 1, lazy one. If 3, maybe this is high potential and overperforming person.
And then my last question will be how knowing about remote teamwork would help to make this world a better place.
I have a lot of colleagues who trying to work with freelancers, people from Bali, from Goa, from Philippines, or Filipinas, how to say?
Filipinos.
Filipinos, thank you. And sometimes you couldn't understand why they work quite differently. It's about culture, it's about language, it's about time zone, it's about instrument, it's about performance on computer and networks. So you should always spend like first week with person who is remote and very far from you, and you should talk like each 2 hours. And in this case, this person could not distract. And in this case, person would ask questions, and in this case, you will control the result. If you will think that all people are самостоятельные,
Autonomous.
if you will think that all people are autonomous, you will be making a very great mistake. Sometimes people do not understand what to ask because they have never done this job. By the way, there is just 5 laws which are very important in our world. And one of them, I think its number is 3. No one is telling how to do your job.
And we reviewed the skill of remote teamwork and how it will be helpful for you. Stay in peace.